His mother came gliding up with 3 abalone in her bag already. Her snorkel swooshed beside him. In a moment they dived again to work along the bottom, picking abalone and filling their bags. Up and down they went, hanging onto each breath, taking a couple of abalone from each clump, leaving the rest to breed and grow. Small fish came out of the weed and crevices to snaffle bits of meat and pick over the sediment they stirred up. Wrasse, sweep, scaly fins, blennies, foxfish and blue devils, all kinds of reef fish, darted about them in bursts of colour. On the deepest dive, at his limit, Abel was almost at the end of his breath when he felt a rush in the water behind him. It felt like something big, like his mother passing. But at the corner of his eye, he saw a blue shadow that blocked out the sun. Who do we think that is?
Blueback.
Probably Blueback, whatever Blueback is. He whirled around to see a huge mouth and an eye the size of a golf ball coming at him. The mouth opened. He saw massive pegs of teeth as it came on in a terrible rush. Abel screamed in his snorkel and pushed hard off the bottom, but the big blue shadow suddenly had him by the hand. The abalone he was holding came tearing out of his fingers. Abel thought he was about to die. He felt pain shoot up his arm. A vast, flat tail blurred across his body, and then it was gone. How do you think Abel is feeling?
Scared.
What do you think, Rose?
Scared and confused.
Scared? Who else thinks that he's scared?
Yeah.
All of you.
I reckon he's
Where?
Yeah.
At what point does the author, Tim Winton, say Abel was scared? Does he say the words Abel was scared?
No.
But you all know that Abel is scared.
Yes.
I want to explore that a little bit. Why we think Abel was scared. Let's go back over it. He whirled around to see a huge mouth and eye the size of a golf ball coming at him. The mouth opened. He saw massive pegs of teeth as it came on in a terrible rush. Here we go. Abel screamed in his snorkel and pushed hard off the bottom, but the big blue shadow suddenly had him by the hand. The abalone he was holding came tearing out of his fingers. Abel thought he was about to die. He felt pain shoot up his arm. A vast flat tail burred across his body, and then it was gone. So what has Tim Winton shown us that lets us think that Abel is scared? Boyd?
That the pain tore up Abel's arm and that Abel screamed in her.
Okay, there's a couple of things there. First thing, that the pain shot up his arm. What's the connection between pain shooting up your arm and being scared? What do you think, Alex?
It's pain is sore and scared you like tighten and stuff like that.
Would you be scared if you felt pain in your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And you're not going to.
Yep.
Normally when you're scared, you're like pain and aches in your body because you don't know what to do when you're scared.
So, are you drawing on your own experiences in life?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, if I was in Abel's position, I would be scared?
And
So that's a text-to-world connection that you're making. That's good. What's another thing other than the pain in the arm? Let's move on to something different. Rose?
He said he screamed in his snorkel and he thought he was going to die.
Again, a couple of things. Pick one of them. Screamed in the snorkel. How do you usually feel when you scream?
you feel like
Scared?
anxious.
When you're scared, you scream, right? Yeah.
Also anxious.
Anxious? Yeah.
You also scream if you're happy, because sometimes people scream if they get 5K or something.
Do you think that Abel was happy? No. So we're thinking that Abel is scared. So the fact that he screamed is one thing that Tim Winton is showing us. The fact that he felt pain is another thing. And what's one more thing? There's one more big thing in there. Oliver?
Yeah, pushed off the ground and...
He pushed off the ground, so he was escaping. Yeah, well, there's a fourth one that I'm thinking of then. So, someone else? Someone different? What do you think, Dash?
He, like, at the corner of his eye, he saw something.
So something he
had
saw.
some suspense.
This is good. We're talking about the senses here, aren't we? He felt something. He saw something. He did something.
He thought he was gonna die.
He thought he was going to die. We're talking about the character's thoughts. So when an author describes to us physical feelings that a character has and describes to us thoughts that the character has, we put those puzzle pieces together and like literary detectives, we come up with how the character is feeling. And that's the sort of thing we need to start doing in our own writing. If we were to write next time we do a bit of writing and we want to communicate that a character is scared, we're going to see if we can do it without using the word scared. We develop our craft that way. There was another example earlier in the book where Tim Winton showed us something about a character without telling us. Can anyone remember where that was? Go back to page 2, everyone. Down the bottom. After a while, his mother steered them around the front of Robber's head and cut the motor. There's that idiom. The anchor went down into the dark, clear water and everything was quiet. Stay close today, okay? Who said that? Now, we figured it out that it's the mum, didn't we? Because the next line is okay, he said. So we know that Abel's saying okay, so it must be the mum that said okay. It must be the mum that said stay close today, okay? Now, because when we read that, we didn't know who said it, it got us thinking, is that something the mum would say or something that Abel would say? Now, when we find out that it's the mum, what does it tell us about the mum? William?
Well, it's not really about that. Maybe the mum knows about Blueback, and that's why she's saying. And she went down there when she was a kid, and she didn't know, and
Yep.
she felt that experience. So she doesn't want him to go down too far.
That's good. That's actually, you've brought up something else, William, is when we go back and read a book for a second time, you've made a connection between something early and something later in the book. But what does this tell us about the mother's personality and her characteristics, Matthew?
She's really kind and caring for her son, and she's not letting him get in danger. Because if he had a mum that says, "Oh, go far away for a while, I'll just stay here," then that shows you that the mum's character didn't really care for her son or her daughter.
Yeah.
Because
So they could get drowned.
Yeah. So we know Tim Winton is telling us that the mother is nurturing and caring. But the way he's done that, though, is he's broken the rules of using dialogue. Think about that. When we use dialogue, we have the words that are being said, but then we also have the speaker tag. So, Mum said, or Johnny asked, or whatever. Tim Winton has just not done that. So he's broken the rules. But by breaking the rules, he's actually been an effective tool that is used. So let's get back to where